Recently, the 121st annual Becker County Fair concluded here in the Lakes area. Obviously, it's been a tradition for well over a century. Families have been coming there over and over again. And it is a quintessential small town fair. It's got tons of different exhibit booths. The 4-H booth, it's got great local food. Charities and churches all take time to be there. And we've got some really cool historic buildings there. I mean, the little schoolhouse we have there, the little cabin. Not to mention, it's always fun to see all the animals that the 4-H kids and other groups have spent their summers and their years developing, learning about. Really showing how we're going to pass that agricultural culture that we have here in the Lakes area to the next generation. But for all the great things we have about the Becker County Fair, I really think almost the gem of the fair needs a lot of work. Recently, when I was at the Becker County Fair, I observed the Grandstand, the place where we have the demo derby, where we have tons of different events. Even at some point, I don't know if this year if it was hosted there or not, but the Becker County pageant has even been hosted there at the Grandstand and the events. Now, that grandstand, we charge other people to use when they come to town, and I don't know how much money that makes. But I know the Becker County Fair itself is free to go into. I mean, you pay your little parking fee, you pay for your button for extra prizes, but the fair itself is free, except for the grandstand. Those grandstand events do cost a little bit of money. But as I observe that grandstand, I can't help but think it's time to put some money into that grandstand. Now, I know Becker County, like every county, is short on cash, and we have a lot of other expenses. And I'm not sure how much money the Becker County Fair Board has. I'm sure it's like a lot of quasi-fair board government entities / nonprofit entities. We're just struggling year to year just to be able to keep the basics on there. But when I walk around it, I just see the fencing is a little more than shabby and could definitely use some upgrade that separates the people from the events themselves. And even some of the bench seats in the grandstand are on the borderline, in my opinion, of being unsafe. And I wonder how long before somebody trips or breaks one of those stairs or steps and then becomes injured, and what kind of liability and what kind of outcome and reputation that could have for the Becker County Fair and those fairgrounds. It's one of those assets we've got to preserve and maintain. I've often been critical of the city of Detroit Lakes for expanding at the sake of its infrastructure it already has. I can almost make the exact same argument, in my opinion, for Becker County. Maybe putting its priorities and dollars into other things and ignoring the great things that it has itself. I mean, the Becker County Fairgrounds is one of the few places that is owned by the county, completely encompassed within the city of Detroit Lakes. And I don't know whether or not this is the city's responsibility to step in and help or not. But what I don't like to hear is probably we'll hear something like, we'd like to help or do something at the grandstand, but we need bonding money. We need state money. We need to borrow more. This year, the Becker County Fair Board and the fairgrounds did get some money to upgrade their exhibit booths. And I think people noticed that and like that. I think upgrades though at the grandstand would prove to be more beneficial. Maybe you could bring more events and more things to the Becker County Fairgrounds. It just seems like we're better as a people, as a community, than what our grandstand represents. To me, when you compare it to a lot of other things in the city and a lot of other venues, it looks a little shabby. I'd like to see it upgraded. Don't know who has to take the initiative on that. I don't know exactly how it could be done. But I know when I look around the community in Becker County, for the most part, I'm proud of a lot I see. And I look at the grandstand and I don't see much pride or feel much pride. I just hope it stays together long enough so we can get all our events through it.